What separates an actor who can barely deliver a line from one whose silence can move an audience to tears? It's not just fame or looks, it is presence, control, and the ability to disappear completely into a role. Some actors chase attention, others become legends by chasing truth. Today, we're breaking down the 7 levels of movie actors. Level 1, Trash Tier, Tommy Wiseau. When people talk about bad acting, there's before the room and after the room. Wiseau's 2003 disaster piece became a cult phenomenon not because of talent, but because of its complete lack of it. His line delivery sounds like a man trying to imitate human emotion after studying it from afar. Every word is either shouted, whispered, or emotionally misplaced. You're Tearing Me Apart, Lisa became legendary, not for its power, but for its perfect awkwardness. The irony? Wiseau spent $6 million of mysterious money, reportedly self-funded, on a movie that broke every rule of filmmaking. He shot it on both 35mm and HD video simultaneously because he didn't understand the difference. The film's green screens, continuity errors, and incoherent dialogue made it unwatchable, and yet unforgettable. Wiseau didn't just miss the mark. He invented a new one, a level of bad so sincere it looped back to genius. And he's not the only actor on this list. Steven Seagal. Seagal's story is the opposite, a man who once had the system on his side and still managed to fall off it completely. In the late 80s and early 90s, Seagal was an action star, stoic, deadly, and allegedly authentic, thanks to his Aikido background. But authenticity doesn't equal acting. Every line he delivers sounds like it's been tranquilized. His emotional range exists somewhere between mild irritation and faint boredom. He rarely looks at his scene partners, often whispers through dialogue, and treats every film as if it's happening to him, not because of him. Over the years, his movies stopped getting theatrical releases and started going straight to DVD, then to obscurity. He didn't evolve. Instead, Seagal became a caricature of himself, phoning in performances from behind tinted glasses, as if the effort of emoting was beneath him. But next up is an actor who passes comedy as acting, Jerry Seinfeld. A controversial addition, but fitting for the bottom tier when measured by cinematic acting. Seinfeld is a brilliant comedian and cultural icon, but on screen as an actor, especially in his own show and in B-Movie, he plays one role, himself. Every gesture, every line delivery, every reaction is filtered through the same nervous smirk and self-aware cadence. He's not a character, he's Jerry Seinfeld being Jerry Seinfeld. That's fine for sitcoms, but not for cinema, where transformation is the point. Seinfeld even once said, "I'm not an actor, I'm a stand-up who got lucky." And that's the truth. Also in this tier is Pete Davidson, who's a younger version of Seinfeld. Unfortunately, for these actors, to climb out of the trash tier, you need more than charm or a fan base. You need to understand performance and at least learn to fake humanity convincingly. Because as the next tier shows, even bad acting requires a little bit of craft. Level 2, Bad Tier, Vin Diesel. For over 2 decades, Vin Diesel has been mumbling his way through multi-million-dollar franchises. As Dominic Toretto in Fast and Furious, Riddick in Pitch Black, and even as the voice of Groot, he's mastered the art of monotone. Diesel confuses depth for whispering and family speeches for emotion. His performances are built around 2 settings, grim silence and growled one-liners. But the real problem isn't his lack of range, it's that Diesel has built his entire identity around self-mythology. He takes himself too seriously for someone who once voiced a talking tree with 3 words. What keeps him in the bad tier is that his films are successful despite his acting, not because of it. The charisma is there, but the character never is. If you thought Vin Diesel was the only one following this format in Hollywood, you'd be wrong, as the next actor in this tier shows you why. Jason Statham. Statham is the British answer to Hollywood's obsession with cool stoicism. He's been punching his way through action movies since Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and yet he's been the same man in every single one of them. Whether he's driving cars as the transporter, fighting sharks in the Meg, or fighting sharks again in the Meg 2, his delivery never changes. He scowls, grunts, and does that squint that suggests both intensity and mild confusion. To his credit, he performs his own stunts and carries physical presence like few others. But his acting choices are on autopilot. Every emotion is filtered through the same grimace. Statham is dependable, but never surprising. Cinema's most consistent shrug. Finally, the last actor on this tier in our list is what you get if Diesel and Statham had a child. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne Johnson might be the clearest example of this tier. He's a brand first, an actor second. Every performance, Fast and Furious, Jumanji, Black Adam, Red Notice, feels engineered in the same factory. He plays invincible heroes with perfect smiles and zero flaws. You'll never catch him crying, losing, or looking weak. That's the problem. Acting isn't about control, it's about vulnerability, and The Rock has spent 20 years avoiding it. His biggest issue is self-awareness. He performs like someone who knows there's a camera watching and wants to look good in every frame. It's PR disguised as performance. That said, there are signs he's trying to break the mold. His recent role in The Smashing Machine, where he plays the real-life MMA fighter Mark Kerr, appears to be his first genuine attempt at dramatic acting. Gone were the smirk and catchphrases. What was left was a man stripped down, broken, and human. It marked the first time Dwayne Johnson disappeared into a role rather than performing one. But the bad tier is also full of actors who mistake repetition for reliability. There's Mark Wahlberg and his one-expression dramas, Gerard Butler's grizzled déjà vu, and John Cena's confused charisma. You might argue John Cena's case in this tier. Even if he's said to be a better actor than The Rock, it's not due to his talent, it's more about his competition. They get the job done but never rise above the script. To climb higher, they'll need to trade formulas for feeling, because the next tier isn't about being marketable, it's about being memorable. Level 3, decent tier. Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's career is the blueprint for this level. He went from the lovable goofball Andy Dwyer in Parks and Recreation to the chiseled hero of Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic World. Pratt knows how to command the camera. He's funny, likable, and effortlessly watchable. But beneath that charm lies a ceiling. His emotional range tends to flatline whenever the jokes stop. In serious scenes, he feels like he's pretending to feel rather than actually feeling. Pratt has the instincts of a movie star, but not yet the depth of an actor. He's proof that charisma can take you far, but it can't take you all the way. On the other hand, the next actor in this tier is the opposite of charisma, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is a paradox, both a meme and a mystic. On one hand, his acting is wooden, restrained, almost alien. On the other hand, that very stillness has become his superpower. In The Matrix, John Wick, and even Speed, Keanu's blankness becomes a canvas for the audience's projection. He's not the most expressive actor, but he's one of the most precise. He listens, reacts, and exists with a quiet sincerity that elevates his work. Still, when he steps outside his comfort zone, say, in a drama like Sweet November or The Lake House, the emotional gears start grinding. Reeves isn't a chameleon, he's more of a presence. When the role matches that presence, he's iconic. When it doesn't, he's exposed. This tier is filled with solid, bankable names, Ryan Reynolds and Tom Hardy when he's not mumbling through it. They've mastered control, but not surrender. To move beyond this level, actors have to stop performing and start transforming, because the next tier isn't about playing themselves, it's about disappearing entirely. Level 4, good tier. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal might be one of Hollywood's most fascinating shapeshifters. Early on, he was the sensitive boy next door in Donnie Darko and The Day After Tomorrow. But over time, he's carved out a niche as the obsessive perfectionist. In Nightcrawler, his haunting performance as Lou Bloom proved he could channel darkness without caricature. Gyllenhaal's dedication to his roles in Prisoners, Enemy, and Brokeback Mountain has turned him into a master of internal tension. Sometimes, though, that same intensity can spill over into theatricality. He occasionally overperforms emotion, blurring the line between brilliance and excess. Still, he's one of the few actors who can make a breakdown feel controlled, deliberate, and terrifyingly human. While Gyllenhaal might be a perfectionist, the next actor tends to only thrive under pressure. Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield's evolution has been remarkable. Early fame in The Amazing Spider-Man could have trapped him in superhero purgatory, but Garfield broke free through vulnerability. In Hacksaw Ridge and Silence, he mastered the balance of fragility and conviction. His performance in Tick, Tick, Boom showed raw emotional openness, proving whether musical or dramatic, a Garfield leads with heart. He's also not afraid of sincerity in an era built on irony. While some accuse him of being too expressive, that's precisely what makes him captivating. He feels deeply, and the audience feels it with him. Last on this tier is an actor who is the human representation of professionalism. Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper represents a professional's pivot from movie star to serious artist. He started as a charming jerk in Wedding Crashers and The Hangover, but roles in Silver Linings Playbook, American Sniper, and A Star is Born revealed depth and control. Cooper is calculated, sometimes to a fault. His acting is methodical, rehearsed, but grounded. You can see the work, but you can't help but respect it. And now, stepping behind the camera, he's channeling that precision into direction, blurring the line between actor and auteur. But control alone doesn't make greatness. To rise higher, an actor must stop managing emotion and start surrendering to it. And the next tier is where that surrender becomes unforgettable. Level 5, Great Tier. Christian Bale. Christian Bale is a blueprint for transformation. The man doesn't just play roles, he morphs into them. From the skeletal insomniac of The Machinist to the bulked up bruiser of The Dark Knight and the slick con artist in American Hustle, Bale's physical and psychological commitment borders on the extreme. What makes him great isn't just the body changes, it's the intensity behind the eyes. Every decision feels lived in, instinctive, and utterly unhinged in the best way. Sometimes, his perfectionism can push into overacting, but even then, you're hypnotized. You don't watch Christian Bale, you study him. But if Bale is disciplined, the next actor is Chaos Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is an actor who doesn't just control emotion, he channels it. His performances in Her, Joker, and The Master aren't simply acted, they're experienced. He thrives in discomfort, breaking down characters until nothing remains but truth. Phoenix has an unpredictability that makes every scene feel dangerous and alive. You never quite know what he'll do next, and that's the point. He's one of the few actors who can make stillness louder than an explosion. His art is vulnerability stripped of ego, a raw sight in modern Hollywood. Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling operates on the opposite end of the spectrum, minimalism. While Bale and Phoenix explode, Gosling implodes. He's mastered silence as a weapon. Whether it's the stoic driver in Drive, the tender melancholy of Blue Valentine, or the quiet absurdity of Barbie, Gosling understands the power of restraint. His greatest skill is control, the ability to make absence feel like presence. He's not the loudest in the room, but somehow, he always owns it. But the difference between being great and being legendary isn't just performance, it's consistency, legacy, and influence. The next tier belongs to those who don't just command the screen, they redefine it. Level 6, Elite. Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio's career reads like a study in escalation. Each role is a notch up in complexity, risk, or physical demand. He started as a precocious talent and slowly recalibrated his scope by courting auteurs, Scorsese, Iñárritu, and Luhrmann, until he became the actor directors build films around. What defines his greatness is methodical intensity. He doesn't chase gimmicks, he undertakes deep research in history, dialects, or physical conditioning, and then layers in controlled excess when the character demands it. Whether flailing through obsession in The Aviator, combusting into greed in The Wolf of Wall Street, or stripping down to elemental survival in The Revenant, DiCaprio's choices are strategic. Escalate the stakes, commit the body, and make the audience complicit. His performances are rarely subtle for spectacle's sake. They're calibrated so that every outburst, every broken look, feels earned. Denzel Washington. Denzel's magic is atmospheric. He owns rooms without shouting. He dominates scenes with a glance. Where some actors search for transformation, Washington crafts presence. His performances read like tonal studies, cadence, weight, and moral energy. In Training Day, he converts charisma into menace. In Fences, he makes regret and stubborn love seethe with a single line. In Glory, he channels righteous fury into a soldier's face. He's also a director's partner, choosing projects that demand moral complexity and then clarifying those themes with economical, magnetic choices. Denzel proves that subtlety can be an act of force, that small gestures, deployed precisely, can topple entire scenes. Daniel Day-Lewis. Day-Lewis practices an extreme form of craft, total inhabitation. He doesn't transform into his characters, he lives as them. His process is ritual, physical conditioning, dialect immersion, and a discipline that sustains character between takes. The result is uncanny authenticity, the crippled resilience in My Left Foot, the volcanic ambition of There Will Be Blood, and the measured gravitas in Lincoln. He treats each role as a solitary laboratory, and his scarcity only amplifies his cultural impact when he does appear. Day-Lewis's greatness is that he makes impossibly difficult choices look inevitable, but mastery at this level still leaves room to climb. To reach the summit, the GOAT status, an actor needs not only control and brilliance, but also to become a transformative cultural footprint with sustained influence across generations and have a body of work that reshapes the language of performance itself. Level 7. GOAT. Marlon Brando before Brando. Acting was performance. After Brando, it was truth. When A Streetcar Named Desire hit in 1951, audiences had never seen anything like it. Brando mumbled, twitched, broke rhythm, and used silence as power. He introduced emotional realism into Hollywood, method acting not as a technique, but as lived psychology. His Stanley Kowalski and later The Godfather's Don Corleone were revolutionary because they didn't seem acted. They seemed real. Brando made vulnerability masculine, rage poetic, and stillness terrifying. Even as his career fluctuated, his influence remained absolute. Every major actor after 1950 traces their lineage back to him. Brando didn't just perform characters, he became cinema's conscience, permanently altering how truth is captured on film. Robert De Niro. If Brando invented modern acting, De Niro perfected its discipline. His preparation became legendary, gaining 60 pounds for Raging Bull, learning Sicilian for The Godfather Part 2, and driving cabs for Taxi Driver. But beyond method, it's his control of energy that defines him. De Niro channels fury, guilt, obsession, and alienation into something magnetic yet restrained. His Travis Bickle isn't loud. He simmers, implodes, and burns from within. And it was De Niro's collaboration with Scorsese that turned internal conflict into cinematic poetry. Now, across decades, he has evolved from a violent loner to a weary patriarch, never once losing precision. He is the actor's actor, technical, instinctive, and endlessly committed. Al Pacino. Where De Niro internalizes, Pacino detonates. His power lies in orchestration, whispers that crescendo into operatic rage. From The Godfather's slow corruption to Scarface's volcanic mania, Pacino has made emotional escalation into an art form. His performances don't beg for attention. They demand it through rhythm, pause, and chaos. Yet beneath the shouting and bravado lies remarkable sensitivity. In Dog Day Afternoon, his desperation wasn't performance. It was confession. Pacino's career proves that excess, when born from truth, isn't overacting, it's transcendence. He became not just an actor, but a genre of his own. Theatrical, unpredictable, and mythic. Heath Ledger. Might be a controversial addition to this tier, but although Ledger's time was brief, his impact was nuclear. His Joker in The Dark Knight remains one of the most transformative performances in film history, not just for its menace, but also for its intelligence. He reconstructed chaos into philosophy, creating a villain that felt both terrifyingly real and completely alien. Ledger's method, months of isolation, meticulous journaling, bordered on self-erasure. Yet beyond the myth of his death, his artistry stands on its own. Brokeback Mountain showcased restraint and tragedy. The Dark Knight revealed fearless immersion. He compressed an entire career's worth of evolution into a single decade, leaving behind proof that greatness isn't measured in years but in impact.